I'm gatekeeping these. This is the last time I'm talking about them on my channel. If you don't take my recommendation, I'm never mentioning them again because I'm gonna gatekeep them forever. Hello everyone, my name is Andrea. If you don't know me, you should subscribe, but today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up and telling you guys all about the books I read in August. August slipped away into a moment of time, you already know. I read 12 books, which is really good. I haven't read that many in a while in 1 month, so I had 12 reads, 1 DNF, and yeah, I will tell you guys the book I DNF'd at the end, but 12 books was really good. I'll put the number of pages I read right here, because did I count them up before this video? Nope. I forgot again, but that's how many I read, that's how many pages I read. I like to keep that statistic now. It's a new thing I've done this year. I like it. I don't know why, but I read 12 books, so I'm gonna have to go a little bit faster today and tell you guys all about them and a little bit of what they're about, a little bit of my opinion, and if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments. I will get back to you on any of these books. If you want me to go into detail or you want to discuss, we can do that. Okay. Oh, my dog, he really wants me to just hold him. Okay. The first book I finished in August was Light Lark by Alex Astor. I'm so happy to finally have this physical book in my hands. I read this one on audio and I had an ARC, so I got to read it before it came out because it didn't come out until August 23rd, which was last Tuesday. I really enjoyed this one. Initially, I gave it 5 stars, but after deliberating a little bit, I decided that it wasn't up to par with like my all-time favorites yet. It possibly could be as the series continues, but for what it was a 4-star for me. Light Lark is a book about 6 rulers of 6 different realms where they all have to compete in a centennial, which is essentially a games, a sort of tournament where one of them has to die, and when they die, all the people in their realm die as well. So it's kind of, you know, eradicating an entire group of people. And we follow our main character Isla, who has a lot of mysterious secrets about herself, a lot of things she's keeping from everyone around her. And on the flip turn of that, we quickly learn that there is a lot of people around her keeping things from her and that she doesn't know. I thought it was an interesting world. I actually met Alex Astor. I have a lot of fond, special memories with this book. If you want to check any of that out, I will link it up here or up here. I don't know which side it's on, but you can check that out. Definitely more of my thoughts because I did have a vlog where I talked about this book as I read it, so check that out, but 4 stars. Then I finished All of Our Demise, which was also an arc that I read. It is the sequel to All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. That book and that series is a really cool book as well. It is a young adult fantasy duology. That one is also about a tournament-esque games, which is called, it happens during what is called the Blood Veil, which is really cool in this world because basically the sky is just red for the entire tournament. Like literally this coolest backdrop setting ever. And 6 or 7, I think it's 6 people of their town have to compete and kill each other, and like only one survives. So it's kind of similar to Light Lark and it's kind of similar to the Hunger Games. That's what these books both give me the vibes of. But in this one, people, like the everyday common people, can use magic, like blood magic, life magic, different forms of magic to a certain extent depending how powerful their families are. So basically they're competing to win their family the blood magic of the year or something, or it's like every couple years they do this. So that's what that one's about. Really cool. I did like book 2. I gave it 4 stars. I would definitely recommend the duology if you're looking for a new young adult fantasy. It's very good. So then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a young adult romance book and I really enjoyed it. I actually ended up giving it 5 stars. Okay, I don't know, I thought so, but I wanted to make sure. I gave it 5 stars. This one is about Wes and Liz, and they are neighbors, but they're pretty much enemies. Like they always have picked on each other. They've grown up together. They've never liked each other, and Liz always has had a crush on Michael. Michael moves back to town and is back to high school for their senior year, and Liz decides that she needs to get Wes's help to get Michael to fall in love with her. So as that is going on, as you can probably guess, Liz starts developing feelings for her arch nemesis Wes and is very confused because he is definitely not the person that she thinks that she is supposed to be with. He is not the person that is the perfect guy for her that she has imagined in her head. She also has a really strong connection to movies and watching old movies with her mother, so there's that, and it's just an all-around good young adult rom-com. Like I really loved it, so definitely recommend. Then I read one of my new all-time favorite books ever, an all-time favorite series series ever. So that was these two books. I love these books like more than I love myself. Like, these are so good. It's The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen by Danielle Jensen, and I even tabbed these books because I was just obsessed. I had to get down all my thoughts. I underlined so many things because they're just so good. I'll give you a little bit of the plot of the first book because I don't want to go into the second book because that's spoilers, obviously. But the first book is about our main character named Laura. Her dad has pretty much raised her and her sisters to be assassins, the most lethal possessions of his that he has. Like, he has to keep them hidden in the Red Desert. They have had no contact with the outside world. So she has grown up knowing that her enemy kingdom is Ithacana, and what does her father do to try to keep the peace, to fulfill a treaty that was signed a long time ago? He sends one of his daughters to become the bride for Ithacana to try to smooth over things between the two kingdoms. So Laura ends up being the one to go. She is the spy. She is her father's murderer. She goes in with the full intentions of murdering her groom, her husband, her new husband. And when she gets there, she learns some things. She does some things. I screamed, I cried, I love it so much. It's so good, and I just definitely recommend this. Is an adult fantasy, so there are some more adult themes in it. Does it have spice? Yes, not as much as you think, but like it has some. It has the perfect amount of tension and build up in the romance, so it doesn't just dive into like useless spice. Like, you know, whenever it's like, okay, I am enjoying it, but do they even have feelings for each other? Do they even have a connection? That is not a problem. We get like slow burn, we get tension, we get angst, we get fantasy, we get plot, we get fighting, we get a badass female character. So good. Multiple badass female characters, actually. So yes, this is like, I'm gatekeeping these. This is the last time I'm talking about them on my channel. If you don't take my recommendation, I'm never mentioning them again because I'm gonna gatekeep them forever. Okay. I also read Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. That book sucked. It was so bad. I don't know why I even read it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't even remember what it's about. I did list some trigger warnings on my Goodreads. So trigger warnings: suicide, sexual assault, depression, self-harm. It was an intense book, basically because it had those trigger warnings, but she didn't really go into like anything helpful dealing with them. Like, it wasn't even I don't know, it wasn't even like it helped anybody that would have gone through those things. It's just, it's a book that had those things for shock value. I don't know, but I didn't really like it. Let me read y'all my review. Nothing in this book made sense, and nothing in this book was done particularly well. There were so many problematic aspects, I don't even have time to go into them all. This is officially my least fave Coho book ever. Would not recommend. There you go. It didn't pass the Andrew Reed's vibe check, so do with that what you will. On a better note, I also read In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. This is the 3rd book in the Darkest Minds trilogy, and I reread Darkest Minds and Never Fade a couple months ago, like in April, and I finally got around to rereading this one, and this series is just my baby. It's my love. I just will cherish it forever. It's just the best thing ever. If you're looking for a YA dystopian, because you like those vibes, you missed out on The Darkest Minds when it initially came out, definitely check out The Darkest Minds. It is just a really good young adult dystopian. Then I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a nonfiction biography? Autobiography? I don't remember which one. But it was about Jeanette McCurdy and her life growing up, how her mom was really abusive to her in a lot of emotional abusive ways, like a lot. It was a pretty heavy book. I gave it 5 stars just because I think it was written very well for what you're trying to do. I also don't think you can, well, you obviously can rate those kind of books low, but I wouldn't. Like, anybody that is brave enough to write their story, it's a 5 in my book. Like, come on. And it was also just really well thought out, and the way she explained everything. She went chronologically from when she was young, the events of her past, and like leading up to present time. The only thing is, I wish we would have got more of her current thoughts. Like, it's a lot of telling what happened and how messed up it is, and you know and you see how messed up it is and how it probably impacted her, but she doesn't outright come and say how she's doing now, or like how she feels looking back on it. It's just a kind of a recounting of those things, which is fine, and she can, you know, tell her story however she wants to, obviously. But I would have just liked to know where she is at now. But obviously, you know, if people grieve over that kind of thing and are still dealing with that childhood trauma, you don't ever really get over it. There's not a point where you can like okay, I'm an adult, let me look back on it, and you just see it all in a different point of view, and you just like all of a sudden have these thoughts and you're over it. Like I don't think she's over it. So, you know, 5 stars. It was really good. It's enlightening, but there's a lot of things. It's heavy, so yeah. Then I read Better Than the Prom by Lynn Painter. It was a short story, but I counted it on Goodreads because it was on there. It's a novella. It's about Wes and Liz, and they go on a road trip. I'm not gonna say anything else because like spoilers, but it was cute. I really liked it. Then I read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This is her 2nd book. She wrote The Love Hypothesis, which I love. Love on the Brain I gave 4 stars. It actually wasn't my favorite. Like it wasn't up there with The Love Hypothesis, and it's not up there with a lot of other fiction books and romance books that I've read, but I did enjoy it. I feel like these are just an easy, cheesy, you know what you're getting kind of read, and I'm okay with that, and I do enjoy that from time to time. In this one, our main character B ends up going to work at NASA. There she has to work with her old, like, when she was in grad school, her like enemy guy, Levi Ward. She has to work with him again, and they had, you know, bad past. They didn't really like each other. She always thought he hated her because he was just so abrupt with her and didn't give her the time of day, didn't really like her, so they have to work together. Levi turns into somewhat of an ally for her while she's working there, helping her with her new job and things like that. And so she begins to see a softer side of Levi Ward that she's never seen before, and it begins to make her question if she really made up everything that she's ever thought about him. Is he really not such a hateful person? What's she gonna do? You know. But I did like it. 4 stars. Sorry if the angle changed or anything. My camera battery, no, not my camera battery, my memory was full. Had to delete stuff. My bad. 2 more books to talk about. So I read Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. That book was so good. I gave it 4 stars. It was a young adult romance. In this one, our main character's name is Quinn. I love her. She kind of reminds me of myself. She is somebody who makes lists of everything, which I always do, and she like has a journal specifically where she keeps these lists of a lot of things that you wouldn't want other people to see. And of course she accidentally gets her journal lost and in the hands of Carter Bennett, who is somebody that she doesn't particularly like. Both of them are young black teens, but Carter looks at Quinn as if she's just a preppy girl who doesn't have any cares in the world and is very privileged, and her parents buy her everything, and she's getting into a very prestigious school, and he just has this view of her that he can't shake and that he doesn't like. So her journal being in the hands of him is like the worst thing ever. What ends up happening is somebody is blackmailing Quinn about her journal, and she can't get it back unless she follows one of her lists that is in her journal, and has like 7 different things that she needs to do before she graduates. And so she is racing the clock to try to do those, trying to figure out who's blackmailing her, trying to figure out if she can trust Carter, trying to figure out if she still loves the boy she thinks she does, or if she has a new crush, a new person she really has connection with and really has feelings for. Carter. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. In my review, I said this book had me stressed, angry, laughing, crying, and feeling all the emotions with Quinn. Really enjoyed it, and that is very true. So I definitely recommend if you're looking for another YA romance. That one was so good. Then I read A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This book was very interesting. I'd seen it going around a lot, but I never wanted to pick it up because I didn't have too much interest, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. I'd seen it everywhere, but I didn't actually fall for the hype. And then I saw it on Scribd. It was only 5 hours long. I didn't know it was that short. So I went ahead and read it. This one is a dark fantasy, I would say. I don't know exactly what it's classified as, but I would say it's like dark adult fantasy. And it's a retelling of Dracula's Brides. This book was a lot cooler than I thought it was. I gave it 5 stars because the way that it was written is just really cool, and the more I think about it, the more iconic that book is. Basically in this book we're following Constanza, and she becomes a bride of Dracula and is his wife, and it goes through centuries and just of her life with him, and it's more of a story of like a manipulative, abusive relationship, but you don't realize you're in that kind of relationship. It's written in second person, so the main character Constanza is basically writing to Vlad and just recounting their life together, which is really cool. I don't know, I don't want to say too much because I definitely think you should just go into it just knowing that, and there's just other things in it, like it's also a sapphic romance book, if you want to call it that. It does have that in it. There's polyamorous relationship as well, so it's a really interesting book. It explores a lot of different things, and it really just kept me up at night, and I read it in like one day, but I've been thinking about it since I've read it. Like, I can't get it out of my head. It's just haunting me, and that's the best way I can explain it. But that was the last book that I read. I also DNF'd a book, which was Gideon the Ninth by, I forgot the author's name, but I tried to get into it by listening to it. I think I need to buy it because I just couldn't. It's just very dense. Like, as soon as it starts, there's so many names and so many things, which is really cool. I love it. I was loving it. I just know I wasn't giving it my full attention, so I want to get the book and read a physical copy. Maybe when I get it, I will, you know, try it again and really get into it, but that's why I DNF'd it like at chapter 3, I think. So alright, that's gonna be it. That's all the books I read in August. I had a really great reading month, some really great books. Without Merit sucked, but besides that, you know, I was pretty happy. And that's gonna be it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you would like to. It really helps my channel. But that's all I have to say. My social media will be linked down below if you want to check it out. But that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
3, 2, 1. Arguing again, arguing about something so simple. Make it clear, tell me why you're running back to him. Feeling insecure, feeling like there's more to your character. Every tear that you cry is worth